Can you hear me now, Miss Page? Now? No, still unable to hear me.
Members, and welcome to our planning meeting this evening, and can I welcome everyone watching on YouTube. I'd just like to say at this stage, if anyone is watching on YouTube and they are watching because they want to see the results of application number 2100250 full, land adjacent to Nightingale's Farm, Brickhouse Road, Coningate, that application has been withdrawn for further investigation. And I do apologise if you were expecting to see it this evening, as we were. It will come back to us very, very shortly in the next few weeks. And I go on to items on the agenda. Item 1, apologies for absence. I do not have any apologies for absence. I assume Councillor Abbott's been delayed in traffic or something, because he's the only one not here. We'll wait and see if he turns up. Item 2, declarations of interest. Does any member wish to declare the existence and nature of any disclosure of pecuniary interest, other pecuniary interest or non-pecuniary interest relating to items on the agenda having regard to the Code of Conduct for members? Councillor Mrs Spray.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll declare an NPI in item 5A. That's the Earl's Cone item 20-2205 reserve matters. I have, over the long period of time that this application has been around, given practical advice to parish council and residents on what they can and can't object to and so on, but I will remain and vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? No. That brings us on to the minutes. Members, I do not have the minutes of the 14th of December. They will come to another meeting, but I do have the minutes of the 11th of January. Is it your wish I sign them as a true record?
Those are a correct record, Chair.
Thank you. I find a seconder. Thank you, Councillor. All those in favour that I sign them as a true record. Thank you, members. Brings us on to item 4, public question time. We have no general questions this evening. That then brings us on to applications, planning applications under item 5. And the first application is application number 20-02205 REM, land south of Halstead Road, Earl's Cone. This can be found on pages 6 to 61 of your agenda. And we do have one speaker on this application, and that is Miss Paige Harris. She is the agent for Promising Homes. Perhaps we could get through to her and she could make a statement. Can I just remind you, Miss Harris, you have 3 minutes to make your statement.
Where she's saying that she is still not unable to hear us. No, the feed is on mute, is what she's reporting.
Oh.
But I will ask her to go ahead and read the statements regardless, if that's okay with you. Just said she can't hear us.
She can't hear us, but we were able to hear her. Yeah. Thank you. We can't hear her. Loud. It's not loud enough.
I think it's probably better if I read the statement, Madam Chairman, in circumstances.
Right. Can you let her know that that's what's going to happen, please, Corinne? Alison is going to read the statement. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to address the committee this evening. Members will be aware that this site benefits from outline planning permission for residential development, open space and ancillary works, which was granted in August 2017. Whilst the acceptability of the balance of the development proposals contained within this Reserve Matters planning application was established within the Planning Committee's resolution on the 20th of July 2021, the final aspect you are being asked to resolve relates to the positioning of the required pumping station. It was appreciated that the proposed scheme was considered by members to be a welcome addition to the village, what with the design of the linear park, ecological mitigation and delivering a good mix of dwelling sizes for both private and affordable accommodation being key aspects identified by members. We are therefore grateful that members afforded us the opportunity to reconsider the proposed positioning of this pumping station, taking account of both theirs and the public's previous comments. From the September 2021 Planning Committee, it was recognised that members wanted to ensure the pumping station was incorporated in the most suitable part of the scheme, the open sight lines of the linear park being maintained from north to south, and the associated cordon sanitaire located so as not to impose upon any existing or proposed dwellings. Having addressed these comments, we are pleased to bring this application back to Planning Committee, with the pumping station having now been moved to the lowest part of the site, abutting the site's southern boundary. This ensures the proposed area of open space will be delivered in the location and form previously approved by members, and despite not being a legal requirement, we have also ensured that no dwellings or associated gardens fall within the cordon sanitaire buffer zone. Although this revised location is at the furthest point from dwellings, it has been comprehensively screened through substantial landscaping to mitigate any visual impacts. This not only adds additional planting and variety to the site, but also increases the habitat for birds and wildlife. The revised location also results in the creation of a new area of open space in the south of the site. This is of great benefit to the future residents, as well as allowing for further additional native tree planting. The revisions have been subject to consultation by statutory consultees and the public and have received no objections from either. Officers are satisfied that from a noise, odour, visual and layout perspective that the development is acceptable and that any concerns previously raised by members have been overcome. With the Planning Committee having recognised that all parties, including officers and the Parish Council, have worked hard to ensure that a high-quality development of both natural and built environment is delivered, we hope that you will be supportive of these proposals and that you will agree with the case officer's recommendation and resolve to grant the application. Thank you. That's the end of the statement.
Thank you very much for reading that, Alison. Thank you. Excuse me. Members, we do not have anyone else wishing to make a statement on this application, so we'll go straight to Matthew for the presentation. Good evening, and thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good evening, members. Okay, so this will be the third time this application has been brought forward to members. It's the Reserve Matters for 80 dwellings at the site land south of Houston Road, Nelscombe. Just a reminder, so it's the site edged in red with the access off of Houston Road in Nelscombe. Okay, so what I've done is a side-by-side comparison layout, and I'll just walk you through the differences, which there are not many. So just to recap, the original application was brought forward on the 25th of July, the original iteration, which was recommended to be approved by members, but then it later transpired that a pump station was required for the foul water. So we brought this back on the 14th of September in the location shown here, by, as you can hopefully see by my cursor. So that would have been in the open space and closer to neighbouring properties. Now, what has effectively changed, or what the concerns members raised, was regarding odour, potential odour for the residents, and also the visual impact. And I think it's worth noting that the previous layout didn't make any other layout changes apart from the open space and obviously the pump station in that location. So because of those concerns I've just said, the application was deferred at the last meeting, and now it's been brought forward to you today as Persimmon have changed the location of the pump station down in this corner over here. So as you can see the difference, what's effectively happened is there's 4 one-bedroom houses have been relocated into the site itself. To re-accommodate the units, the developer had to change the unit mix in the centre here, so it's these sort of core dwellings. So hopefully you can see there's some sort of subtle differences there. So there's still 80 dwellings proposed, but what effectively has been achieved is that some of the larger dwellings, the 4-bedroom dwellings, have been changed to 3-bedroom dwellings to be able to relocate those 4 one-bedroom houses, in this area. And also actually there's the bin store has changed position down here as well for the flats. So that is essentially the only difference to what you considered previously, and I suppose the main thing is that what is now proposed doesn't change the road hierarchy at all, doesn't change the open space, and actually gives you, or would give, slightly more open space. And I think that's just in terms of what officers are asking members to look at tonight, is those changes, because as was said at question time, the original application that was considered in July was recommended for approval, which had essentially the same layout as this. So it's only the slight changes that I just said that is different. And then just to show you, this is the landscape plan. So you can see the landscaping around the pump station proposed. You can also see this black line is the cordon sanitaire, which obviously was a point of discussion at the last meeting, as I said. But now it doesn't go over any living accommodation for any of the proposed dwellings. And similarly, I think it's about 36 metres away from the closest existing neighbouring property, so far beyond the line, if you like. And the pump station itself is to be screened by a brick wall, as well as obviously the planting that I just showed you. And that just gives you a typical floor plan of the pump station. I think it's worth noting that the pump station and associated infrastructure would be constructed in conformance with strict guidance and must meet the satisfaction of the water company, who would not adopt it until they're satisfied it's technically correct and acceptable. Once adopted, the water company oversees the management and maintenance, and therefore they're the ones responsible for it. Even though that isn't really a planning matter, I just wanted to make members aware of that. And if there is any issues of odour, then that is something that Environmental Health can investigate through the Environment Act. So just very quickly to sum up then, so it's previously been considered acceptable. The only changes being sought of the pump station, its new location, the small unit mix change, as I said, and it's set out in the report in more detail, and the relocation of the flat bin store. So in the new location, officers are satisfied that from an odour point of view, that it would be acceptable, and visually, again, would be acceptable. And I think it is worth noting that there is no consultee or neighbour objection to the revised position, including the parish council. So the officer recommendation for you this evening is to approve, subject to the condition of region set out in the report, and an additional lighting condition and linked informative, which I've included. It's just our standard lighting condition and a linked informative, just to in line with what the college office has asked for, just to make sure they come in with the right details. And that is the end of the presentation. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Councillor Mrs Spray.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, Matt, for the presentation. Yes, I'll be happy to move officer's recommendation on this. I appreciate the fact that the developer did take on board the comments from both from this committee and also from residents throughout this process about the pump station, its original site, which was, I think, unsatisfactory. I think this is much better. It's sort of quite nicely tucked away down in the corner. There's no overall loss of house numbers, just a slight adjustment to the size of some of the dwellings, but the developer keeps their overall house numbers. And actually there is, as Matt said, there is a better view through the site now it's been relocated. The only comment I had recently from a resident was around the possibility of foul odours coming from the pump. They've done a little bit of research, to their credit, on how these things work, and there are occasions, I believe they're very rare, but it can happen that early on when the development is underway and when the occupancy is then quite low, it can happen that the system fails a bit. But I think that is quite rare, and as the officer has said, the management of this is down to the water company. They will need to be satisfied well in advance that this is up to standard, properly installed and working, and also will deal with any problems if they arise. But hopefully there won't be any. So I think we're satisfied on that score. I don't think I have anything else to add, Chairman, other than that it will be nice to get this one through. Thank you, and I move officer's recommendation for approval.
Thank you. And does that include the lighting condition and the linked informative?
Yes, it does indeed.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mann, do you wish to second?
Happy to second, Madam Chair. I guess we spend a lot of time on this, but I mean, 80 houses is pretty significant for Earls County. So it is important that we do get it right, and commend the developer for actually listening to us as a committee. I agree that it's a much better position for the pumping station. Now it's moved southward, and it will be well screened too, and the linear part is now linear, which is another plus. And I think the changes to the housing mix are minimal and satisfactory. So yeah, I think we can sort of definitely vote for this now.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to add anything new or further or new? No? Well, it has been moved and seconded that we grant this application, that we include the new lighting condition 11 with a link informative. All those in favour? That is unanimous, members. That brings us to the end of our planning meeting. I don't think we've ever had a meeting that has ended at 7:30. What? 7:35 or thereabouts. Thank you very much indeed for travelling all this way. Those of us that have a short meeting, but these things happen, and likewise the application has been withdrawn. We've got to get it right before it comes to us. So thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you, and thank you very much.